Well, hello everyone, welcome to my channel. So in Unit 2, we spent some time talking about the law of demand, and if you don't know about this topic, I highly encourage you to go back to my channel and watch the playlist. So according to the law of demand, there is a negative relationship between quantity demanded and the price for a certain type of good. So in this simplified model, we can tell that the higher the price, the lower my quantity demanded. And the reverse also holds true when everything else besides my price doesn't change. But have you ever wondered, when the price of a good or service rises, how likely is it that you'll still consider to buy this product? And how do we measure this responsiveness of the consumer's behaviors when there's a change in price? So for today, we're going to introduce a very useful and common tool in economics to measure the responsiveness of the quantity of a good demanded to a price change. It is called price elasticity of demand. In this case, in abbreviation, it's called PED. And something that really helped me to understand this concept of elasticity and really did help me to build up this economic intuition is the analogy of a rubber band and a belt. So as you all know, a rubber band is fairly elastic. That means if I pull the rubber band, its shape will be easily changed, right? But for a belt, it is relatively inelastic. So no matter how much energy or force that I use, its shape will not be changed, right? So when we consider PED, we can see price as the force and quantity demanded as the shape of a belt or the rubber band. So whether the demand of a good is elastic or not largely depends on whether the quantity demanded can be changed by the price fluctuation. You'll understand what I mean by this end of the video. So some of the major determinants of PED value are the number and closeness of substitutes and the necessity of goods that we're looking at. So first, let's talk about the number and closeness of substitutes. So if you have subscribed to my channel and have watched some of my previous videos on chapter 2.5, you will know that I'm currently building up a macaron business in a town called Crystalland. So what I do is producing this chocolate-flavored macaron and sell them to the local customers. So after my macaron has become viral on Instagram several weeks ago, many business people are now considering making macarons as well. And this really bothers me lately because the barrier to entry of this type of business is actually pretty low. Because as long as people get the recipe from the internet, they'll also be able to make macarons and open up their own business and compete against me. So last week, surprisingly, next to my store, there are a couple of new places open up on Broadway Avenue. So one is called Macaron. I don't even know how to pronounce this properly. And another one is called Kentucky Macaron. So they make me feel a little bit in crisis because both places sell chocolate macaron as one of their major products as well. So the other day, I passed by the stores and bought their macarons and tasted them. There was pretty much no difference than mine. And the reason that I said I felt a little bit in crisis is because the number of substitutes of my chocolate macarons in the place where I live has risen in the past month. And something that makes me feel even more insecure is the closeness of the substitutes among these stores. So previously, I had a strategic plan to raise the price of my chocolate macarons, but now I can't, since once I raise the price, consumers will be able to switch to the macarons sold by Macaron and Kentucky macarons, and I can foresee that there will be a large drop or responsiveness in quantity demanded. So in this case, we see the more substitutes a good has, the more elastic is its demand. So since I have learned Econ 101, I also know the closeness of substitutes and the length of time will also affect the demand of my product. So if the price of my chocolate macarons increases, even though consumers might not go to other stores in a short period, and therefore the demand for my macaron might still be fairly inelastic over the starting period, but as time goes by, eventually they will have the opportunity to discover the other two rival stores. And if I don't invent any new special recipe, the demand will become more elastic for the macarons that I'm currently selling, because when there are identical products, especially when a good is not a daily necessity. My consumers' buying behaviors largely depend on my price, and even though macarons aren't too expensive for some people, but they are considered luxury goods in the realm of economics because they are easier to cut out when the going gets tough. So to summarize, the determinants of price elasticity of demand are mainly due to number and closeness of substitutes, the level of necessities of this good, and finally the length of time. I don't even need data to calculate the PED value for my chocolate macaron. I know that it will eventually turn out to be a big number after my analysis above. So right now, what I have to do is to change my menu and perhaps create some more flavors that can be easily copied by other stores. Okay, so as my competitors are creeping up, I'm also thinking about making some additional efforts on marketing to make my offering the last thing they'll consider to cut out of their lives, even though the process might require some additional brain power. So what are some of the other strategies that you could think of to help my macaron business become more sustainable, or in other words, to help my macarons become more price inelastic? So leave a comment down below, and I look forward to see what you have. And next time, we'll continue to talk about the elasticity of cancer drugs and explain why they can get so expensive. All right? So, ciao. I will see you next time.